Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So recently, I included this clip that got posted by digital asset investor of Brooks Entwistle, and he's actually talking about Swift and he's talking about Ripple. Now, I'm going to play it again real quick for you guys. It's only 46 seconds long because for the rest of this video, this clip is going to come up in question, and it's information that we need to go over yet again within this video, because what we are going to talk about is all of the significant connections proving why Ripple and XRP are a significant piece of the new financial system. So listen closely to this video. It's about 46 seconds long, like I said, and listen closely to what's being said.
I think this banking point is really interesting because one of the things, and I'm sure Brian's noticed from his time from being the regulator to now, we've noticed this even the last year. A lot of the banks, basically all the banks that you would go to 5 years ago with a solution that said, hey, you know what, that Swift thing, why don't you put that to the side and we can give you a replacement network to send money overseas between banks. No one wanted to even have you in the room. But these banks are all moving very quickly with their own, desks being set up. Their high net worth clients are asking for it now. And so they will evolve in the same way that others will have to come along. And if they don't, and if they're sitting still and not asking questions or haven't identified a smart young person to be driving this for them right now, that's a bad place to be. I think that.
Now, again, like I said, in the last video that I talked about with this clip in it, what I was mainly focusing on is the fact that, yeah, it's innovate or die. If they are not innovating with this new technology, they're going to die. And we're starting to see every single high value client and, big player moving towards this new technology race. This is a race towards innovation. That's as simple as it can get, right? But when it comes to Swift, I've talked about it in the past, Swift is dying. When we look at Swift back in 2021, we start to see a lot of the big players moving away from Swift, because it's almost to that point where they don't need to utilize Swift. But guess what? Does that mean that Ripple will replace Swift? Well, let's talk about that. Let's address that. So over here, we have from Smoke Dog, we have at Swift Cebos event, cryptocurrencies like XRP and XLM are going to continue playing an important role in getting the flywheel of adoption going. This level of confirmation should be a consistent reminder of how integral these assets are to the fourth technology revolution. And yes, the fourth industrial revolution is on its way. I've been addressing it for a little bit of time now. I get it, right? We hate hearing the fact that these things are happening. The fourth industrial revolution is coming. Ripple and XRP are a part of it. And guess what? XRP is sitting at 50 cents. Let me ask you guys this, right? If someone said back in 2000, let's actually go to right after the dot-com bubble burst, right? If someone said Amazon is going to roll the lands in the future, because they technically do, would you have been buying Amazon for the next 7 years and accumulating it? I could almost guarantee you, if you knew where Amazon would be today, you would be accumulating the hell out of that stock. The same exact thing's happening now, right? Where I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you guys about this fourth industrial revolution all the time. I'm talking to you guys about significant things happening in the background, talking about how the banking sector 100% needs to innovate or they will die. And you're not hearing it just from me, because again, my voice does not matter in this. What matters is the people at the high table, right? Like the ones that are talking to the central bankers, the ones that are talking to the big, names that actually matter. They're telling you this. And we're still sitting here and we're like, well, XRP has not moved. In my opinion, I look at XRP as it will be as big as Amazon in the next 5-10 years. And do we have to wait 5-10 years? No. But I'm saying within that time, we're going to start to see a lot of things change around crypto, specifically a big focus put on utility. But listen closely to this clip.
The front office is automated, there's low latency. Then you switch gears, banks operate still typically in terms of batch processing, store and forward, and payments, messaging, clearing, and settlement are often decoupled and can take days. This dichotomy is just unsustainable. And in response, we're seeing and hearing at Sibos how a number of FIs and FI-backed consortiums are harnessing blockchain, smart contracts, digital assets to align the performance of banking and payment systems with those of the digital economy. The second takeaway, I'd say, is that the Internet of Value is beginning to crystallize. And let me start with a framework. Let's think of the old industrial flywheels that take a lot of energy to make a half turn and a full turn. But once they start turning, there's momentum and it's hard to stop them. So let's overlay adoption of blockchain and digital assets. They've proven value. So part of the first turn, feasibility, certainly. And now we're seeing these use cases get into the bottom of that first turn, economic viability. And there's some exciting initiatives we heard about at Sibos around interbank payments, delivery versus payments, for example, correspondent banking, messaging, cross-border, interbank, intrabank, intra-company, and importantly, when we get to the ESG, the S part, remittances. So lots of interesting energy there. And we're seeing cryptocurrencies like XRP, Stellar Lumens, and stablecoins like USDC playing an important role in getting that wheel to turn and deliver the Internet of Value. Also, the introduction of central bank digital currencies will accelerate the mainstreaming of digital assets. I'd say my third, coming to the crown jewel here, cryptocurrencies are gaining legitimacy as a new asset class. When the Bitcoin paper first came out, it was going to be the missing link, the Internet of Value, a medium of exchange. But as we know, Bitcoin failed as a medium of exchange for legal activities. Then the pivot was to blockchain, distributed ledger technology as the new disruptor. Now we're seeing Bitcoin as in the lead as a new digital asset class, which has profound implications. It's been initially driven by retail investors. Now we're seeing institutional investors enter the game. And with institutional investors, you get more sophisticated demand. And that certainly is going to accelerate developments in decentralized finance.
And again, as we really start to look at things moving towards a more digital realm, we do really look at XRP and XLM. I mean, listen, these two have been around for a very long time. They have seen significant strides. I mean, when you really go and look at what Stellar has been accomplishing, especially around the tokenization space, very big player. When we look at what Ripple has been doing with XRP, again, also very significant to mention. These two, in my opinion, have already been confirmed as being a part of this fourth industrial revolution. They're far too embedded in the traditional world of finance already to just say, yeah, I don't think that they're going to be a part of it. But beyond this, right? Also, going back to the idea of Swift, right? You have Swift isn't fast enough. More value across borders in an instant with Ripple's crypto solutions for business. This is a part of the Crypto Means Business campaign that Ripple was running. They were running this for, I think, like well over a year or so. I think it still is running technically, but this is tap into the possibilities of blockchain solutions for your business today. And when you look at all of the key things here, it's all regarding new financial services, new financial opportunities, efficiencies unlike no other. It's really hinting at the fact that things are changing. And it just makes sense. No matter if you are a bank, a credit union, it doesn't matter. You can't avoid the elephant in the room, which is blockchain solutions. They are revolutionizing the way that everything works while unlocking tremendous revenue opportunities and just efficiencies. You can't avoid it. And clients like you and me, they're also not avoiding it. Businesses, companies, they're not avoiding it. We want these efficiencies. We want to utilize these solutions. because they revolutionize everyday life. They streamline everyday life. And that's why when we look at the clientele behind, Swift as well, they also want this. So now we need Swift to innovate. And now Swift is also coming out talking about ISO 20022. We have ISO 20022's richer and more structured data is the foundation of a new generation of services for banks, corporates, and consumers. Very interesting. This is at the heart of achieving the industry's ambition for instant and frictionless payments. This is the head of ISO 20022 adoption and data quality. Now, Volante, January 19th, 2024. Volante Technologies, faster payments priority for U.S. banks. Almost 4 in 5, 78% of U.S. financial institutions say increasing the speed of payments is a must for their organization, Volante Technologies finds. This is very interesting. And if we scroll down, we could see that these institutions had assets ranging from $1 billion to $50 billion. And we have that they spoke to more than 70 mid-ranking banks and credit unions to glean insights into their current payment operations and shed light on their strategic plans for system modernization over the next 12 months. This is happening now, not later, now. And we have down here, interest in real-time payments and the impressive adoption rate of real-time payment usage across the networks underline a transformative shift in the payments ecosystem. Once seen as a nice-to-have 24/7 real-time payments experiences are increasingly a core requirement for consumers and businesses. Like I said, the demand from the clientele aspect is making sure that this revolution, this transformation, it's happening. Whether these players like it or not, they need to tap into new avenues. Now, one of those big services is FedNow. Banks move towards FedNow and TCH RTP. With the FedNow service having been launched in July, most institutions have firm FedNow plans with a 50% year-on-year uptick in respondents who revealed their plans to connect within the year or sooner. And this continues, right? Now, we also know that with FedNow, Volante Technologies is a service provider. And you might be questioning, well, where does this have Ripple? Well, first off, we have Volante's research also highlights the growth of cloud and payments as a service, with the latter on track to displace bank data centers as the preferred method for payment processing, which means banks, in terms of payment processing, are being replaced. And we have down here that with a renewed focus on deposit protection and customer retention, financial businesses now realize that providing superior payment services, specifically instant and real-time payments, provides an ideal way to meet their customers' shifting needs. Furthermore, the industry is converging on payments as a service as the fastest, lowest risk way to achieve payments modernization. And this is all through APIs in the cloud. RippleNet offers that with Volante. And also, recently, in October of 2023, Volante Technologies scoops Innovation Award for ISO 20022 service. Interesting. And it's all around API plug and play. Because APIs actually automate the migration between traditional message formats and modern ISO 20022 equivalents. Also, this enables banks and financial institutions to extend the longevity of their legacy systems and accelerate the introduction of ISO-based services for their customers. This is how you get modernization in full effect in an accelerated way. Again, I make note of this because I want you guys to understand who and what Volante is. This is a powerhouse that have tremendous names tied to it. They're moving trillions in value daily, and they're settling trillions of dollars daily. Now, I put out a post regarding this back in May of 2023. I'm going to bring it back up in this video because Ripple and XRP, they're big players here. If you follow Ripple and XRP, you might want to read the following. So we all know Volante, right? You know, the same Volante that works with 125 banks, financial institutions, market infrastructures, clearinghouses, and corporate treasuries in 35 countries. Oh, also the same Volante that solutions and services process millions of transactions and trillions in value every single day, powering 4 of the top 5 corporate banks, 40% of all US commercial bank deposits, and 70% of worldwide card traffic. Well, this is what they have to say about Ripple in their guide to banks and financial institutions regarding ISO 20022 migration. What's even crazier is that Volante recently extended their collaboration with Citi for global ISO 20022 migration. The dots have been getting connected with Citi and Ripple ever since the Medico acquisition. I find this very interesting. And here we have the movement towards ISO 20022 goes beyond just compliance with a SWIFT or market infrastructure mandate. The payments processing ecosystem is a diverse and ever-changing one. While there are major changes in how payments are going to be made occurring now, there are new entrants, ideas, and innovations that will shape the industry landscape for years to come. A lot can happen in 5 years after all. Sitting at the heart of that change will be ISO 20022. The standard will bring together disparate systems, standards, and methods from across the globe and tie them together. No greater example of this can be found than in that of Ripple, the first member based on DLT to join the ISO 20022 standards body. That is a massive thing to note. Now, also, we just recently got a big update in December, which was European Payment Council cross-border payment scheme launched. Now, guess what's funny about this, right? Now, this is actually a proof of concept of the scheme that was executed by SWIFT earlier in 2023. And this was with a lot of major European payment system providers and also banks. You could actually see a lot of those big players here. And a lot of this is actually based around even Australia or Australasia, Brazil, and even the UK. But it was all regarding interlinking market infrastructures, and this will help the industry to meet the G20 cross-border payments goals around speed, transparency, cost, and access. Now, what's interesting about all of this is the focus on the G20 cross-border payments goals around speed, transparency, cost, and access. Note the names here, because this is actually SWIFT, and their full focus is interoperability is at the heart of everything we are doing at SWIFT to achieve our strategy of instant and frictionless payments for all, and it will be key to achieving the G20's goals for cross-border payments. Again, the focus is on achieving the G20's goals for cross-border payments. And you might be saying, Nick, why does that even matter? Well, CPMI, Cross-Border Payments Program, from the BIS. Guess what? Enhancing cross-border payment speed and transparency while increasing access to cross-border payment services and reducing their cost are the key objectives of the G20 Cross-Border Payments Program. Since the G20 leaders endorsed the roadmap for enhancing cross-border payments in 2020, much has been accomplished in laying the foundations through the necessary stock takes and analysis across the 19 building blocks. Do I need to tell you that Ripple is a part of this? Specifically, back in August, right, Payments put out the report on Ripple joining the BIS task force for cross-border payments. This is the CPMI group. As part of the cross-border payments interoperability and extension task force, Ripple will work with other organizations, including MasterCard and SWIFT, in fulfilling the BIS's goal to enhance cross-border payments and meet the quantitative targets for cross-border payments endorsed by the G20. Now, again, this is around interoperability. The CPMI group is focused on payment system interoperability and extension. Even over here, we have interoperability is at the heart of everything we are doing at SWIFT to achieve their strategy regarding the G20's goals for cross-border payments. But then also, just recently, on the Converge podcast, you had 3 players, and I already included this video clip in a recent video. I'm not going to play it again for you guys. It's about 3 minutes and like 34 seconds. But you have 3 individuals here. You have the global head of payments and PMI at SWIFT, you have the head of digital assets, Citi, and then you have the head of payment products at Ripple. And the title of this podcast is New Rails to New Worlds, Building Inclusive, Innovative Infrastructures for Global Payments. And it's all based around global interoperability. This is the next generation of networks. This is the next generations of global payments. And going back to even Volante with FedNow, because FedNow is going to be a significant player in all of this. Back in June, ISO 20022, Let's Do It, put out 2 posts. The first one here is Ripple partner and FedNow service provider Volante says that customers can use XRP on its platform since it's connected to Ripple plus Volante selected for US Fedwire service provider in the cloud. Again, in the cloud with API, that's a big deal. Over here, Volante discusses their partnership with Ripple plus Volante customers can access XRP through this partnership plus select it as a service provider for FedNow and Fedwire. Check it out.
Detail and depth in the particular products. I know that there's a lot of new things that you're working on. Some things that you'd like to share with us.
Sure. Today, I think we have announced one more product which helps the latest technology, blockchain technologies, with these open ledger technologies. We are already it's just out for the last few months, I guess, with one of the companies called Ripple. And we have already partnered with them, and we have a working product in which we have demoed it here. And we are going to demo that to a lot of our customers as well. And we are getting a lot of good traction there, saying customers have looked at it, and they're saying this is great because it's when they're thinking about these things, when we show the solution, they really love it.
You know, very interesting for me because, of course, as you mentioned, blockchain is getting a lot of coverage, and I think a lot of people still associate it very much with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and that might not have given the right image of blockchain. So it's really refreshing to hear that there's other applications in financial services, and that you've actually brought some of that into the market. I'd like to hear a little bit more.
Again, you're absolutely right, because blockchain has been associated with Bitcoin. A lot of people have not been looking at other things, but I think now the knowledge of blockchain technology is becoming a little more popular, and people are learning more on how it can be used, right from the securities market to the payments market, the settlements and all that. I think as we go forward, again, there will be a lot of excitement regarding that, and there will be a lot of new players, and eventually there will be shake-up, and then some of the leading players will settle down as the leading leaders. But what we are trying to do is, it really doesn't matter which vendor you go with, which technologies we go with. Our architecture itself is built in such a way that we are, I would like to use this phrase called future-proof, which will support you as the technologies change or industry change, but you'll be able to address it in a very agile fashion to address those needs as you go forward.
And again, Volante, they are a big one to focus on if you do hold Ripple and XRP, because Volante has a lot of the significant connections that do matter, like FedNow, for an example. They are one of the leading technology providers for FedNow, which is a direct exposure to Ripple and XRP. But also, all of the connections with Swift tell me that it's not just about Ripple and Swift working together. It's more so about Ripple becoming the next Swift, or even possibly becoming Swift itself. Back in a few years ago, or the way that I said that was crazy, but back a few years ago, you had David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, putting out a dream scenario. The dream scenario was Swift providing RippleNet with XRP as a service, and then having those banks, those institutions, credit unions, paying a fee to Swift to utilize that product. It would both benefit Swift, but it would also benefit Ripple. And that was the dream scenario. And it would perfectly position XRP between all of the major names out there. But this would also allow Swift to innovate and not die. Because whether or not Swift wants to innovate, their time in the sun will soon come to an end if they don't. Because just like banks, they need to innovate or they will die. And even ISO 20022 puts a lot of pressure on the industry. And I'm not talking about crypto, I'm talking about the banking and the financial industry, because now banks, financial giants, they all need to innovate. It's mandatory. So we're going to start to see a major shift happening as we start to see ISO 20022 rolled out in much larger fashion. But the changes are happening. And I know that it gets tiresome hearing about it. I know that it's annoying to hear about it while XRP, sits flat or loses value. But I want you guys to realize that this is just a start. This is changing everything. These are the new rails to the new world. And it's happening. It's coming. You could see everything aligning perfectly for it. All of these documents that we go through with the BIS, even with, the European Payment Council, with Volante, with FedNow, with SWIFT, it's all hinting at the same exact thing that we have been talking about for so many years, which is the fact that Ripple, they are a significant piece of this new system. And they could very well become a big player like SWIFT in this new system. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.